Hello and welcome to Leashed Dad's podcast. That is Justin.
And I suck at listening, but that's Jared.
We are two leashed dads that get together to discuss our everyday lives while chained to our parental responsibilities. And tonight, I think we're going to talk a little bit about listening versus not listening as far as our child's behaviors go.
Jared, same.
Kind of got inspired by some recent turn of events in my household that I've said this before. I have a bunch of girls in my house and they're all Tauruses, and I myself am a Taurus, and stubbornness is the main trait for each one of our characteristics. So it's pretty natural, I guess, that there is no listening in this house. But as we'll get into later, I think I have found out something that works. The past week and a half have been relatively pleasant.
Hold on. So you're saying, or not saying, but the way it sounded or the way it came out of your mouth was that you're in a house full of girls and they never listen to you or they don't listen at all.
Oh, at all. I mean, wife is in the same.
So, but
You're
you're
careful
making,
what I say here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm hinting at right now. Is you are indicating
the kids,
that,
only the kids.
okay. I
Okay.
was hoping that you were going to say that, or try to or be very careful with that statement of generalization statement that women don't listen. When they do, it's just how effective some women listen or how effective men listen too.
I'll tell you what, wifey, if you're listening to this, you can slap the back of my head tomorrow. Let's just put it that way.
How about this? Saving grace. Both sexes tend to have problems listening.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I'm not. Like I said, I'm a Taurus too. I don't fall anywhere short of that. I don't listen, especially. Let's not get into this, okay? We're talking about our kids here, okay? I'm not digging myself a hole. I'm not going in the doghouse.
I was trying to help you out of that hole. You're just not listening.
Nope.
You and
We're
your
not talking about it.
You and your damn astrology stuff.
Okay. I'm not saying anything more.
I'm just blaming Taurus.
I don't want that heat.
No heat. I'm just blaming the astronomy or astrology stuff, whatever you want to call it. If you believe in that stuff, I'm sorry.
I mean, if you want to get off on a small tangent here, I'm not like a devout, oh my God, I got to look at my horoscope every day. But I do find, and I've looked at a lot of people and versus their signs and their characteristics of their signs, and it's pretty darn close. That's why I feel that it is somewhat of an accurate measurement of people's personalities and traits. It's not like I'm looking to the stars and asking them, what's next in my future. It's a fun way of categorizing people and their traits, in my opinion. That's what I pay attention to it for. Is just the categorizing of the types of people. Really,
right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that you decided to not love a. Never mind. Yeah. Well, I won't even say that. Where does it actually? I was gonna see where does it actually say that they say something about what that they are bad at listening or if they're good at listening, things like that.
Stubborn.
That doesn't mean you're not bad at listening. You're just headstrong.
Help me out, folks. Help me out. Do you see my point of view? Do you attribute not listening and being stubborn, please? Because he clearly wants to prove me wrong.
No, you're just being stubborn now.
Exactly.
You're listening.
Proving my fucking point. Now let's move on.
You are still listening to what I'm saying. You're just not going to change.
Exactly. That's what it's like in this household.
Yeah. But does it mean they don't listen or they just don't care? Or they care?
See, I guess that's something I'll have to consider in the future and talk to them when they're like a teenager or something. Is it that you don't care or you just don't listen?
You're really screwed at that point. You've got 3 females that are, eventually going to be on the same cycle.
Let's leave that out of it too, because yeah,
I said eventually. You still got time. But
I don't
you're
want to
right.
get into that.
Yeah, we won't get into that. Anywho, tangent over, right? I think.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, kind of.
Anyway, yeah, tangent over. So the reason why I kind of wanted to talk about this is because I found a way that they actually either start to care or they listen, because clearly I have to specify both now. Um, they respond to having, screen time
Take it
positively.
away. Ooh, like
So
if they earn it, like a reward.
you're right, and if you kind of are lax on the timing of that screen time,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to feel like they're in control and have more freedom with it. And I feel, and I'm not a doctor and I'm not a psychologist, but I feel, and in their brain, that they are so relaxed and feel so free while doing their own thing on the screens that that's a pretty cherished time. So when they don't listen, or they don't pay attention, or they don't care about directions, I simply just say, okay, if you choose to go down that path, you're going to lose your screen times tomorrow. And I always break it up in between television and games. They're separate
Interesting.
because games are kind of a higher priority to them. They're at least my eldest than
Like,
TV time.
like what kind of games?
PBS Kids on. I have a couple old
Okay,
smartphones
so
that.
like the educational games,
Yep.
not like the brain melting games that my children play.
No,
Good.
they like PBS Kids. I don't know.
Yeah, we've tried getting our kids into like ABC Mouse
Yeah.
with
See,
educational stuff.
right, but see, that's all my kids know. I mean, they don't know, Fortnite, Call of Duty. I mean, they've played Mario 64, but even that is challenging and whatever. I mean, you
Yeah,
can't. You got to strategize, whatever. I can't talk.
strategize.
Strategize and really try at that stupid game to get to win. Trust me, I haven't even beaten it yet. I don't think I have the patience to sit there and try to beat it.
I've beaten it a
Honestly,
few times, but that's for another day too. I
right.
get it. I mean, maybe it's coming from a guy who rarely plays games versus a guy that grew up on games.
Correct. Yeah, that's very true. I grew up mainly on like PlayStation 1, even when like 3 and 2 were out,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the only system I had growing up. So I don't know if for all you gaming geeks out there, the game Medieval on PlayStation 1, I did enjoy that a lot when I was like
Medieval
11, 10 years
Valor.
old, and I did beat that like at least 3 times. It was just a fun story to go through, and once you got through and all the weapons, it's pretty easy to beat. But anyway, so
Gotcha.
back to my original point,
Mm-hmm.
they respond to that threat. Like even tonight, there was a bit of a screaming, I don't want to do that, blah, 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 because this and this and this. I said, okay, well, if you don't want to do that, then you're going to lose your TV time tomorrow. And nope. She went up and she said, okay, fine, yes. And then because we've actually sticked to that punishment before. Yes, it does suck for us because on that day we're not going to get as much stuff done around the house. But she just, I think, in even looking at her in her mind, she realized that day she was screwed. Like she was so bored, like, and she did not have her freedom and her relaxation time in front of
Mm-hmm.
the television. And
Well,
then
and you still
if
give them only like a so much time on the television or screen time too, right?
yeah, they're not, yeah, we try not to give them as much time as possible, but
It's not like here's 8 hour day of
right,
from adult.
no,
I
no,
wake up
no.
and watch TV 8 hours and then go.
I would say during the summer it's become 4 probably.
No,
But at the same time, that second punishment or the second threat of, okay, you've lost TV. Now we're going to talk about losing games too. And so far, that's only happened at least once where she was not allowed to play games or watch TV.
Interesting.
So let's hope it sticks.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing to talk about too. Like the way, as bad as it sounds when you threaten to take something away, you still have to be able to follow through and stick through it, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's painful for us parents. I hate
I
it
think
just
it's painful
because.
for any parent that just like I had to, the child gets it in a way, but at the same time they don't understand
Right.
the, you know, I've asked my children, "Do you know why we did this?
Oh
Why
yeah.
you're being punished?"
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you should
It,
know.
you should know, all right? You know, and then we re-explain it to them or ask them, like we'll send them to their room if they're misbehaving or whatnot. Like Nico has gotten kind of bad with some of his behavior while playing with people outside, um, where I've had to pick him up and carry him back inside.
Okay.
Like we'll hear screaming or yelling, things of that nature, coming from him, like he's playing across the road with some kids. You hear screaming, yelling from inside our house. I'm like, oh boy, all right, let's go find out what's going on. And then, I politely say, Nico, let's go home. Let's go inside, gather our thoughts, calm down. But to the point, it's like, you can come back outside when you're done, when
Right.
you calm down and everything. No, no, no. It's like, fine. Now I'm picking you up and you're going to come inside. And you don't get to go back outside until you talk with me and tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's a punishment for not listening to me the first time when I'm asking nicely to come inside and recollect your thoughts or just calm yourself
Yeah. Take
down,
a break.
redirect him from becoming angry.
Right.
Um, and that's kind of what we've taken this from his therapist that he's seeing, or counselor that he's seeing, just kind of giving us some ideas with him, like just yesterday I think it was, he had an appointment and she just uh, my wife was given this idea of giving him like a reward system, kind of like giving him a coupon every time he does well. Hi Arlo. But so doing like every time he does like good listening,
Yeah.
uh bring him, or he can get a coupon. We still have yet to decide what that coupon is going to lead into when he decides to cash in or whatnot. But um, he can get a coupon for good behavior, basically showing
Okay.
good behavior. So when he does come inside, or like when we tell him, "Hey, it's time to come inside for dinner," rather than throwing a fit, he'll just come in, he'll eat, whatnot, right? Or if he does get angry and redirects his anger by coming in and cooling off or other things of that nature, give him a coupon for it. I don't know if we're gonna like give him one every day, like every time he does do good behavior, which I think would be ideal, just to keep building that positive behavior,
Mm-hmm.
rewarding with positive energy and positive behavior. Otherwise, is it just gonna be okay? You've earned your daily limit, one a day, or how many you can get in a day. I don't know. That's something Sam and I have to discuss, as well as rewards and what you can get for cashing them in. So,
Are those discussions easy to have?
we haven't had them yet, so I couldn't tell you if it's easy to have.
Hmm. Keep us posted.
Just with Nico, it's just before he goes outside and play, we do tell him, hey, just remember, if you start feeling overwhelmed or frustrated, come back inside.
Yeah.
Just kind of giving him that gentle reminder of, hey, or set those expectations for him. So just have him allow him to have a fresh mind before he goes outside and whatnot. So
No, I
yeah,
like that.
I mean,
I like that a lot.
Sam and I will have to have that discussion. We haven't had it yet. I'm not saying it's a hard discussion to have. It's just we haven't brought it up during time or anything like
Yeah,
that.
it's one of those conversations where with your partner you have to find time where you're alone to really have an open and honest conversation about that stuff where the kids are not in earshot. So
Yeah,
it's difficult for us to
exactly.
find time to do that, but
Yeah. Well, it can be, or it might not be. So, but we'll figure something out. We'll get it. We'll get it going. Um, just I think the big thing is to get something rolling sooner than later for this, um, because if you don't get it rolling like soon, if we don't get it rolling soon, and he does all this good behavior and doesn't get anything for it, we're giving him. He's going to start going negative.
right,
Like he's not getting anything for his good behavior, so why should he continue it?
right.
So
I get it.
it's like negative conditioning at that point. So yeah, as far as listening though, you've got example whatever.
Exhibit A.
Who
My
Exhibit
exhibit
A
B has not come
not
downstairs
doing a
yet.
very good job.
I
Lucky
know.
you. I think, well, this is like Exhibit B. Exhibit A is with said other
Ah,
parent. But Exhibit B is not doing a very good job of doing what he should be doing right now, which is sleeping.
tell him that I want to go to bed and I would like to go to sleep.
You can build your fort. You do. If I'm done, I may come and help you, but it's not a guarantee. You should not be worried about the fort right now, young man. You should be worried about trying to go to sleep.
Yeah, what you gonna do in a few
Have a string
weeks
cheese.
when you gotta get up at 7 a.m.?
Yeah, that's going to be the problem, is getting him to sleep on a
When
that
are you,
routine
hey, speaking
thing
of which,
is
when are you starting it?
I don't know yet.
We decided next week.
Probably the week before
Yep,
school.
we're doing it next
I
week.
think like the 19th or the 26th.
The 19th. Oh yeah, so
We're going to start.
sorry, folks. I will start it on the 19th.
Okay.
So the day after this comes out, not next week, but
Yep. Yeah, well, that's why I asked about the 19th or the 26th. Yeah, I think we'll start on the 26th here. That's a full week basically there. Um, it should be a reasonable time because that'll mean Sam's kind of got the weekend off or whatnot to recharge as well. So I think the 26th is a good one to do. But it's usually a week because I think children only need kind of a week to start getting into that rhythm
yeah,
again. I don't know if you necessarily. I mean, some people start earlier. If your school starts earlier, depending on the school you go to, parochial or private versus
right.
public. If you start earlier, then you'll probably want to start, sometime earlier. I don't know when they start or whatnot. They start earlier, get out earlier, but that's because you start earlier, right? Where, yeah. So that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, no. Listening, getting children to listen, I think is you need the positive reinforcement versus negative reinforcement. I mean, granted, you've got your negative reinforcement of taking away their screen time, right? Um, or that punishment, essentially. Uh, I would call that negative reinforcement because they're getting something taken away for not doing something
Yeah, I mean, positive
for doing
reinforcement
for
in my household is kind of unspoken, but that's how I grew up. Like you do what you're told, you're not going to get in trouble.
yeah,
Which,
exactly. I mean, we all kind of grew up
yeah,
that way, right? Yeah. I mean,
peace and
I don't.
quiet versus chaos and angry parents. Calm, understanding parents
Yeah, I
versus
mean, okay, so
furious.
right, I mean, positive reinforcement, right? you kind of brought this up. If the children are going to listen, you're allowing them to continue to have that
Correct.
screen time.
But I'm not
Right.
outward saying, hey, thank you for listening. You're going to get screen time tomorrow.
Right. I mean, it's already a given that they can have
Right.
screen time. It's not really much of a reward per se. Maybe the reward could be, hey, thank you for doing such a good job today. I will extend your
Yeah.
screen time.
Let us know.
But I'm not saying do that by any
Right.
means. I'm just saying,
Folks, let us know what you think.
especially if they already get like 4
Right.
hours.
Let us know what you think, folks. Should parents be outward saying, hey, thank you for doing a good job listening, or, following directions. Here is your reward, versus automatically having the assumption that they will have their normal screen time tomorrow. Let us know.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think, or my opinion on this matter is, if you give them an X amount of screen time, right? You already have the standards of an hour of screen time. Okay. I'm just going to use screen time or electronics as an example. You give them an hour, but they do a very good job of listening, or they don't throw any types of tantrums or anything like that. They go maybe above and beyond your expectations for the day. Okay, give them a reward, give them a half hour, give them that, double their screen time hour or time, right? Give them 2 hours of screen time the next day. But I mean, if you're already giving them 4 hours of screen time and they do a good job, you're not going to reward them by giving them 5 hours of screen time, right?
Right.
I think that's too much.
So
I feel like that's just too much. I will help you in a moment.
I'm ready finished.
Then go to bed. Yeah, I think 5 hours is just maybe too much. Now, granted, I say that, but I feel like, oh no, my kids have been good at being outside. I think today they've been inside for a bit on their tablets, but it's not like they were constantly on it either. Like, I had a visitor and they were playing with the visitor for a bit too. It's not like they were focused solely on their screens the entire time either. So yeah, I mean, we've got plenty of things to keep them around, or keep them occupied. But I think sometimes they need just a different outlet source, and that screen time is that outlet source. So, or heck, maybe you do give them that type of reward where, if you don't have them if they don't have too much screen time at all, like any screen time, not saying people are strict that way, right? But all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, you guys, can do what you want for the day. So if you want to watch movies all day, go for it. You want to do something like this, you've definitely earned it. One of my kids actually recently has just been like, I don't want to play today. We're not. He wasn't punished by any means. He just wasn't in the mood to play with people. And he was all peopled out. So it's like, okay, well, neighbor kids. He told the neighbor kids this earlier in the day, and then the neighbor kid comes back over and knocks on the door, says, can he play? And somebody else had to step in and say, no, he said he does not want to play today. It's like, yes, I think kids change their mind, right? But even as a kid, you need to listen and understand that if one says they don't want to play today, try to respect it. It's just another listening thing to worry about, right? With kid to kid thing. But as like talking to your child and having them listen, or being able to listen, I guess exhibit A at that point here is expecting me to do something. So I will listen. I will maybe help him, depending. But at the same time, he's not listening by procrastinating going to bed.
Right.
So this is where I'm torn. I kind of promised him I would do something.
Well, I would go through with that promise. And that's the part of the struggle that I think we all suffer, is that at some point we promise something, and at another point it kind of
puts
the events transpire to where they really don't deserve that extra help or that promise that you gave, so you kind of want to renege on it. Yeah, that's hard. I don't like those times
Like, okay,
at
so
all.
I will say, I guess let's make this maybe more clear then. You set the expectations when you first
Yeah,
tell them,
yeah,
right? So let's say they ask you like, okay, it's nearing their bedtime, blah, whatever. They want to do something like build a fort. Okay, you say, okay, I will help you when I'm done doing what I am doing. All right, you go do your thing, but they're all of a sudden, coming out of their room, uh, not necessarily doing what they should be doing, which is trying to build it themselves or um, trying to go to sleep without the help, and then they keep coming and pestering you. That I would say, okay, fine. I've warned you. I've actually set the expectations that I would help you when I'm done doing what I'm doing,
yeah,
but you keep coming out here pestering me to do it.
yeah. So
It's not
in
happening.
cases like that, I've openly said, now you're starting to make me not want to help you as I promised. I think I've actually said something along those lines where you're not listening, you're making me upset because of this, and it's making me not want to help you out with such and such. And I can't remember if they actually did the thing afterwards, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
I know my kids. I listened to my kids here recently too, to the point where I've I've tried to make some changes in how I work with my kids, um, and try not to yell at the top of my lungs. Try to still be reasonable because every time they've come to the realization that, oh, daddy's yelling, he must be mad.
that's
So that, I mean, I try and I mean, yelling does normally insinuate somebody's mad, um, but at the same time, it's like I shouldn't have to always yell at you to do something after I ask you to do it the first two times.
yeah, I agree.
It's like, yes, now I'm mad or disappointed, but they've come to the idea that even if I'm not yelling at them, they'll start, they might start crying or feel sad and everything. I'm like, do you think I'm mad at you? Like something happens where they make a mistake or they make a mess, and I expect them to kind of clean it up, and they start crying or breaking down. I'm like, I'm not
Right,
mad.
just clean it
I'm
up
just
for God's sakes.
disappointed. I need you. I'm just asking you to do this, and I do ask them, do you think I'm mad at you? Or like, I think one of my kids had broken something, like broken a picture, just by he wasn't actually throwing anything or doing anything he shouldn't be doing. He was having fun being a kid. I think he accidentally ran into the wall or jumped on the wall, like jumped on the floor, and one of the pictures had just fallen off the nail and fallen onto the ground. He came upstairs with the broken picture frame and everything. I was like, okay, well, it's a little too late at night to do this now, but I will take a look at it tomorrow. I tried to repair it, but I couldn't do it. Like I used super glue and
Sometimes,
everything
yeah,
and tried to hold it
yeah,
together. It just didn't happen. I told him it didn't I get it. It's an accident. You didn't do it on purpose. And I asked him if he thought I was mad at him. I'm like, no, I'm not mad at you. You weren't throwing something in the house and broke it. It just fell off the wall. So it's like, I'm not mad. It's just I can't fix it
right.
now. I've tried. I told you I would do it. I tried. I would try to fix it. So I mean, I just trying to make sure he understands that I'm not always going to be mad at him, recorrecting it, but also reassuring that they're listening to me. And I mean, at that point, he listened well. He took the picture frame back downstairs and understood that I would fix it in the following day. But he didn't get punished for it because, again, it wasn't like he purposely did it or anything. But what do you do, or how do you? I don't know if you've run into this yet, but lying.
I haven't really run into that yet, so I can't.
Oh, okay.
And it's different with my
I mean,
stepson, just
I mean,
because
yeah. I guess it's not really like talking about listening.
Yeah,
though. That's
we could
kind of
talk
just
about that
a
another
loose
time.
subject. Yeah. I don't know. I was going to try to incorporate it into some listening, but that's definitely, it's not going
No.
to work. It just, the subject itself isn't going to work at all. So, yeah. Yeah. What, you got anything else? Or folks, if you have anything else about your listening or listening stories that you want to share, by all means, feel free to let us know. Or if you just want to send it to us and we talk about it, you can do that as well. Send it to us. How can they reach us, Jared?
Email leashdads14@gmail.com. That's leashdads14
LEASHEDDADS.
at gmail.com, or comment on YouTube, comment on TikTok. The world is your oyster.
We're both on.
Do what you.
We're both on TikTok,
What?
by the way. We're both on.
Yeah, Jared D47 and some other. I don't know what your handle is, but I'm actually.
It's just
Side note: I'm actually enjoying the community on TikTok a lot more than YouTube. So I'm enjoying my time on there so far. So
yeah. Well, you're also just fresh to the TikTok world, so it depends on the community you do join, because it's got as you start looking at different videos,
yeah,
right? Your For You page will grow.
I've as far as comments on my existing stuff or my stuff that I posted, there are some negative people that just don't get my point that I'm trying to make. And that's fine. I'm not going to have everybody agree with me in that. And that's just like one of my biggest personal hurdles. But we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe we'll talk about social media.
Yeah, that's a good idea because I have a lot to say about it.
There you go. Well, folks, again, thank you for listening tonight. And we will see you all next time. Enjoy your leashed ads and their podcast.